Hello everyone, I'm making a video about two old fans I have. On the right is a unit produced by the Hunter Fan and Ventilating Company of Memphis, Tennessee between 1946 and 1949. It is the product line Zephair. It is a type C16, which means 16-inch diameter blades, and catalog number 265. On the left is the a fan produced by the Hunter division of the Robbins and Myers company, Memphis, Tennessee, the company that bought Hunter. And it is a model CG16.5, and catalog number is 16.5 3S. And it is basically a newer production of the same company. Now in detail, the one on the right has the paddle blade or elephant blade fan blades, and it is open cage, of course, so it's not terribly dangerous. It will let your finger know that you touched it if it is running and you put your finger in the cage. The nameplate is interesting on this model. It's got all stamped data, so it has a serial number has been hand stamped, the catalog number, the type, the volts, the cycles, and the amps have also been stamped in. So a lot of these have that information, most of that pre-printed. The catalog number, type number, volts, cycles, amps pre-printed, and the serial number is stamped. But this one has it all. So it may have been an early production unit from Memphis, Tennessee as the factory got up and running. It has aluminum blades. They're non-magnetic, painted black, and it is in wonderful condition. Both of these fans have what's called a PSC motor, permanent split capacitor. There is a capacitor in the base that basically there's two sets of coils in the motor. It's not just a shaded pole cheap motor like you use in a range hood, a can opener, or bathroom ventilation fans, something like that. These are deluxe motors that were common to Emerson, General Electric, General Electric up till early 50s, and the Hunter fans, the good stuff. And they're long lasting. They run cool. They take less current to get the same amount of air moved than a shaded pole motor. And you'll see that in the General Electric, the Vortelexes. There's a certain year, 51, I think, or 52, when the current required by the motor goes up a lot. It almost doubles, and then you don't get any more air movement. Same blades and everything, and that's because the motors aren't as they don't have their lower power factor. And because of that extra current running through the motor, because of the low power factor, it causes a heating effect. The heat generated in the motor is proportional to the square of the current. So if you double the current, you're getting 4 times the heat 4 times the heat dissipation. So the motor runs a lot hotter on the units without the capacitor motors. Now, particularly one on the left is an interesting model. It's government. It is as I said, it's a CG16.5, so it's a 16.5-inch blade rather than the 16-inch blades of the Zephyr. By the way, Zephyr was a product line. They made table fans, or desk fans, and they pedestal fans, window fans, attic fans. So a lot of them were called Zephyr, but it was the premium model rather than the cheapo fan, the cheap versions. So this one has a grounded plug, 3-prong plug, larger plug, and then of course the Zephyr has a 2-prong plug, but from the 40s, typical nice, great quality soft rubber plug, and both of these have excellent condition cords. Even the Zephyr has the maker of the cord, which was not made by Hunter, has the original tag on it, 2 of them actually, along its length, indicating who made it and that it's been tested and approved. So the difference, cosmetically, the main difference, both have the very similar bases. The bases are basically identical as far as the shape, up till the mechanism, the oscillating mechanism up to this point. And then the only difference becomes cosmetically. The ones that were made for household use had this bullet-shaped cover that these government models don't have. So basically, underneath that bullet-shaped cover of the Zephair is this. There's a slight difference. This has a knob that engages the oscillator or not because it's household use. And the government model you had to use a screwdriver or a coin to engage and disengage it. And by the way, a long time ago, Robbins and Myers had this with a metal, basically a sheet metal item in here, part that would act as to engage it, like a permanently installed coin, almost. And this model returned to this style, but doesn't use that little piece of metal. The Zephyr has these blades. When 1949, 1950 rolled around and Robbins and Myers bought the company, they got away from this style of blade, which, by the way, was used on Hunter fans that were made in Fulton, New York prior to 1946. Looked exactly the same, except they said Century, Hunter Century. They weren't. So when the factory moved the production to Memphis, Tennessee in 46, they changed the name of the model from Century to Zephair. It lasted for 3 years under that situation, and they finally went away, that blade and cage design. And you got, this was one option, a safety cage, which was optional. The blades changed to that shape, and you'll see these on eBay. Most of them have an open cage, that's not the safety cage. They're open like the Zephyr, but they have a different design. They have an S-shaped radial arms or radial supports coming from the center. So they had open cage mostly, but the blades became these not paddle blades, or pizza slice blades. I'll run it to show you the difference in the noise that's produced by each fan. As for the condition, both of these are in absolutely outstanding condition. I estimate the Zephyr is about 70 years old. The CG161, that one's, it's hard to say. I would guess they made this style for many, many years. The later ones in the 70s had the Hunter, had that sort of fake wood grain badge in the middle. Earlier models that were household use, not government, had a R&M that had various different style badges in the center. This one, the government model, doesn't have that. But I'm going to guess with the fact that the grounded plug was required. It has a metal tag here that tells that it must be used on a circuit that has a ground. That was probably new in perhaps the late 50s, early 60s would be my best guess on this. A very heavy duty cord. Rare to find that tag still in place. There are a lot of these CGs around, the CG161s, but I haven't seen another one with that. Maybe one other I've seen with that tag, but I can't say for sure. So the units have a historical connection between them. You can see similarities. The difference in the blades occurred because of Robbins and Myers' takeover of Hunter in 1949, 1950. And this design persisted until at least the late 70s. There was a bicentennial model, 1975, 76, and that, I think production went beyond that. Maybe 80s and 90s. I forget, but it lasted many years under the pizza blade design. So we turn these on and see the difference in the noise. First, the Zephair on high speed. Both of these have high speed as being the first speed position. So that's high speed. Nice quiet fan, basically, for high speed. Moves a lot of air. Medium. And low speed on this Zephyr is particularly nice. It's a very good speed discrimination between them, between the settings. Low. I like to stabilize at low speed. When the video, you can see the shutter action, or the electronic shutter of the video. Okay, there it is, low speed. I hear the dog barking more than anything Okay, the Hunter, and watch the coast down on this. This is a 70-year-old fan going to the off position, and just see how long it takes to bring to 0 RPM. Yep, that's a steel rotor shaft on bronze or bronze alloy bearings, some sort of brass bronze alloy, and it just 70 years old. It's been, I just wiped it down the other day, put fresh oil in the oil cups, the positions you oil it, and it just, you know, they don't make stuff like this anymore. You cannot replicate this in a modern fan. You have to get a restored or excellent condition original to have one of these. The pizza blade model, it makes more noise. The blades aren't as I don't know if efficient is the word, but they make more noise, as you'll see. The switch is not as, doesn't have the firm detents as the older model. It's a softer switch. Comes up to speed a lot faster, and you'll notice it does make more noise. And then switching to medium. So speed discrimination is there, but it's not, perhaps not as much as the paddle bladed Zephair. Low speed. Yeah, it still makes considerable noise on low speed. So the design of the blades makes all the difference as far as the sound. The motor itself wouldn't make any difference. As long as the RPMs are, absolutely positive the RPM design is the same on both motors. Those paddle blades will load the motor down more on the Zephyr than it does on this model. Those blades are able to rotate faster. Single phase motor isn't as heavily loaded as much as this model would be with these much higher pitch blades. Blade pitch there versus over here, and you'd think it comes to a stop pretty quick. It doesn't have quite as friction-free of a bearing, but it's perfectly good condition. So the blade pitch there you can see is far shallower for the same diameter blades. This unit's going to load the motor more. The motor's going to not spin. It won't be able to spin these blades as quickly on the Zephyr as it would on the government model. So anyway, that's again, the permanent split capacitor motor. It makes these things, they were wonderfully made when they were original. You just can't get them anymore. You can't get something like this. You'd have to buy an industrial fan from like McMaster Carr or some other place like that to try to equate to this. But you wouldn't have the sort of mid-century industrial look or the classic look of the Zephyr by buying such model, but a newer one. Anyway, that's it. I'll make one final thing. The paint on these Hunters, whether it's the Robbins and Myers division Robbins and Myers or original Hunter, the paint isn't as fantastic as the Emersons or the Vortelexes. It's a thinner paint. It's not an I don't know if it's enamel. Probably might be, but. For these to be in this good a condition, these were exceptional finds. To find the paint in this good a condition on this particular brand of fan, it's just beyond. I really was fortunate to find them on eBay. Not too far apart either, you know, considering the time frame. I found maybe like a few months apart. I found them. So anyway, I get one last view. I'm going to rotate the table here so I can get the light. The good light will be on the back of the fans. So be able to see some detail on the switches, get some detail on the cords, and then put them both back into service where they belong. One's in the bedroom, and one's out here in the extra room of the garage. Here is the Zephyr's plug from early post-World War II. It's in beautiful condition, as is the cord. I mean, it's absolutely flawless cord, not a crack in it. And there's there's one of the maker's marks. I think I showed that, and here's the other one down here. So just really, really, really nice condition. The switch, it has this style. There's another style that's a different look, but that's the, it has those very loud, very stiff too compared to the more modern one. You can hear it. The head wire, flawless. This one, grounded plug, new for 1959 or whenever it was made. It was like the safety setup for the day. Grounded plug, heavy cord, very heavy duty 3-wire cord, rubber cord, and again that unique tag that says, maybe you could freeze the video and see it, but it's a warning tag. It says you must use this on a grounded outlet. Again, the head wire, there's more paint loss on this model, this unit, but the head wire's perfect, cord's perfect. Paint loss, I mean, it's just the condition is phenomenal for their age. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little thing about these two fans. On the left is the Zephyr with a model C16, catalog number 265 from about 1946, 49, probably in the early time period 46, more towards 46 because of the nameplate being all stamped. And then the Robbins, the fan that is part of the Hunter division, Robbins and Myers Incorporated, and it has most of the information is just pre-printed, like most of those Zephyrs are, pre-printed current volts and voltage and frequency of a line. Catalog number, model number is pre-printed, so is a catalog number. The only thing that's the series P, they changed the way they designated the models, and there's no actual letter there in that blank field. I can see, maybe there is, maybe I can't see it, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. The differences of these two fans related by basically the same company, but some years apart, perhaps about 15 years apart in manufacture. Thanks for watching. Take care.